Okay guys, I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, and this is the next installment of the Percussion Revolver series. Now we've dealt with load development, we've dealt with sighting in, we've dealt with that stuff. Now we're going to tackle that gremlin of sighting in, okay? So to do that, we're going to look at the two predominant revolvers that we see floating around, the Remington and the Colt. And we're going to talk about things that are common to both of them in sighting in. Okay? The Colt design has the hammer back here with the rear sight notch and the front sight there. As I've spoke in my earlier videos, the angle is slightly off because of this to this, so it makes the barrel want to cant up. This was a mechanical advantage by the designers because these were going to be combat weapons. They wanted the longest possible effective range. Okay? Same is true for the Remington. The Remington has a fixed frame, has a rear sight notch here, and then a tall front notch right there. Now, what comes into play is a little bit of geometry. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am no artiste. I'm going to give you a little idea of something right quick. Here is my target. This triangle right here. Right here is my eye. Okay? From that target in a straight line relatively to that point is what we're looking at, just like that. Now, whenever I put a Colt up there, I'm trying to do this backwards guys, so bear with me. If you notice, when you line it up kind of on the front and then you line up, I'm doing the best I can here guys, that there's a kind of an uphill angle to it. That's the way it was designed. What I want to do is change that angle. Now, that is the elevation angle. And whenever I'm looking at it, there's also a windage angle that I need to take into account. Okay? So, for my second piece of massive artwork, I'm going to say that here is now my target. Here is my Mark I eyeball. And here, in this very badly drawn dotty line, is the relative line. Okay? This is looking from overhead straight down. If I get up here and I'm looking at that straight line and I shoot and I produce a group, and that group is up here. There's my group. I'm looking straight, and through here I'm looking at my sights. But it's off to the left. What that means is that my windage somehow with the gun is slightly canted. Now, things to look for. One, make sure your hammer does not wiggle side to side. If it shifts, you're going to have to shim it. Otherwise, every time you cock it, you're going to change your windage. So it needs to be rock solid. Come back and stay in the same position. Okay? Now I'm looking through my rear sight notch and I'm hitting left. Turn that around so you can see it straight. Yeah, like this. I think. Yeah. Okay. Imagine this is my gun barrel. Here's my eyeball. Here's my target. I put that up there and I'm hitting here. Actually, what's happening is I'm doing this. Due to something in the siding, it's increasing it and it does that. So I want to file the rear sight on this side, the side I want it to move to. Because when I do that and I bring the gun up, my eye naturally wants to center it. And since I've widened that notch, what happens is that. Think of it as the front sight of the gun becomes the pivot point, and that we're doing this, and that the front sight is stationary and the back of the gun's doing this. Okay? By widening that notch to that side, the right, I center up and I bring the barrel, the back of the gun back, and my point is there. So therefore, I have adjusted windage. Same thing for the other way. If it's off to the right, I do the left side of the notch, and that brings it back. How much can I bring back? A little, not a lot. If it's on the paper at 10 yards, absolutely, that will cure your problem. That's the reason I recommend short range, 10 yards, before we start wasting a lot of lead trying to hit something 25 or 30 or 60. Now, what if it ain't enough? I've widened it over here and I've brought it, but it's way over here. Okay, then there may be something else that's causing it. And that something else is usually the muzzle of the gun. Okay, you've heard me mention many times about taking a T-square, sitting up there like that, short T-square, and making sure that this muzzle is 90 degrees. What's occurring is, as in pool and billiards, you have a pool cue, you know, the ball. I'm going to take the pool cue and I'm going to hit that cue ball. If I hit it dead center, it goes straight. But if I hit it off to the side, I add English and I curve it, okay? When the bullet gets to the end of the muzzle, if there's a slight difference, let's say that this lower right hand side is just a grunt shorter, the gas blows out there first, and therefore it curves. It's like hitting the cue ball on the bottom right side. It curves it. So something probably with that muzzle is curving it. What if I get up there and I have shot and it is way left, I have adjusted my rear sight and it's not done it? Well, then what I want to do is get up there and I want to take off muzzle on the opposite side. Okay? We're going to draw another artwork for you. It won't take but just a second. I'm going to use thick Sharpie so we can see it easy. Okay. What you're looking at right here is the muzzle, end on. You're looking down the muzzle. There's your front sight. Think of it like a clock. This is 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, etc. Okay? If I'm going to the left, I need to remove on the 9 o'clock side. If I'm going to the right, then I need to remove on the 3 o'clock side. Okay? That's what's going to steer it back. Now if it's high and left, go diagonally across that clock. I need to remove down here at the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. See what I'm saying? Diagonally opposed. I know that's confusing. This is where Blackie tells you, you're responsible for your own stuff. Go very, very slow. All we need to do is take a piece of sandpaper, chuck it up on a block, and just kind of dress that edge a little. 5 strokes, stop, shoot, stroke, shoot, until you watch that group move over. Yes, it is so painfully slow, and I cannot give you the magic fix. The good news is, once you get this gun truly sighted in, it will be there, okay? I sighted in my old Johnny Reb in the 1970s using this method, and it still shoots relatively to point aim. The rifling's gone in it, but its pattern goes where I'm aiming. And you've already seen how I've demonstrated how both this Pieta and this Pieta will shoot ragged little groups. So I do know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of scary for me to pass on this information to you, because there's going to be that guy out there that's going to take a horseshoe rasp and screw up a gun. That is not my intention. I'm merely passing on information. This is for information purposes only. You're responsible for your gun. And if you want to make these modifications, you do so at your own risk. So, go very slowly. Now we've got the group. We've adjusted the sight. That wasn't enough. We've adjusted the muzzle. That's about all you can do. There are other tricks, but I can't pass them on. That's a one-on-one basis. But you've made sure that the base pin on the Colt isn't binding, so you don't have a wandering group. You've made sure that your sights are squared up, that the notch is squared, so that you've got a good sight picture to start with. You've moved your group with windage. Now, on the next video, we're going to come to those keith marks and elevation. Stay with me. Next video will be right up.